Just 3 days into their marriage, Evelyn Brooks and her husband Daniel checked into a remote cabin in the snowy woods of northern Michigan. It was early January, and the newlyweds were seeking a quiet, secluded honeymoon, a peaceful start to their life together. The cabin, nestled among tall pines and blanketed in untouched snow, seemed like the perfect escape. The host later recalled Evelyn's bright, warm smile, but noted that Daniel seemed calm yet distant. They made it clear they wanted no distractions, no phones, no internet, just the two of them. It was a romantic ideal, a complete escape from the world. But 2 days later, that ideal began to crumble. The checkout time came and went, but Evelyn and Daniel were nowhere to be seen. A growing sense of unease settled over the host. Around the same time, Evelyn's sister started calling, frantic with worry. Her calls to the cabin went unanswered, ringing out into the silent, snowy woods. The host, now genuinely concerned, decided to drive out to the property. As he approached, he saw their car, still parked where they had left it, now covered in a fresh layer of snow. What was truly unsettling, though, was the snow itself. It was a pristine, unbroken blanket around the entire cabin. There were no footprints leading to or from the door. It was as if no one had entered or left for days. He knocked on the door, his calls echoing in the quiet air. Silence. He knocked again, louder this time. Still nothing. The knot of dread tightening in his stomach. He knew he had to call the police. When sheriff's deputies arrived, they found the back door unlocked and cautiously made their way inside. What they discovered was not a scene of chaos, but one of eerie, frozen stillness. The cabin was strangely untouched. Ash! The fireplace was cold, its ashes long settled. The bed was perfectly made, as if it hadn't been slept in. In the main room, a dinner table was set for two, complete with plates and silverware, but the food on it was cold and uneaten. It was a snapshot of a moment that never happened. But then they saw it. A small, faint bloodstain near the kitchen sink. From there, a thin, almost imperceptible streak of red lead toward a nearby window. It was the first real sign that this wasn't just a simple case of a couple extending their stay. The scene became even more bizarre. In the bedroom, Evelyn's beautiful wedding dress was folded neatly on a chair. Beside it lay a man's wallet. It contained an ID for Daniel Price. But when investigators ran the information, their blood ran cold. The name, the address, the identification number, none of it was real. It was all completely fake. The man Evelyn had just married, the man known as Daniel Price, didn't exist. He was a ghost. Desperate for clues, detectives turned to Evelyn's belongings and found her laptop. On it, they discovered a draft of an email, saved but never sent. The subject line was chilling. "I need to talk to you about Daniel." It seemed Evelyn had discovered something that made her reach out for help, but she never got the chance to send that message. What had she found out about the man she just married? Investigators began digging into any available records, searching for any trace of the couple. They found surveillance footage from a gas station about 20 miles from the cabin, captured just before they checked in. The video showed Evelyn smiling as she paid for snacks, looking happy and carefree. And standing right behind her was Daniel, clean-shaven, wearing glasses. He looked directly into the security camera. And on his face was the faintest, most unnerving smirk. That was the last time anyone saw either of them. The search for the couple intensified, turning into a massive operation spanning miles of dense, snow-covered forest. But the wilderness kept its secrets. 2 long weeks later, a hiker stumbled upon a grim discovery near the icy shores of Lake Superior. Partially buried in the frozen ground was a single woman's shoe. It was a small, heartbreaking clue in a case that had gone cold. DNA testing soon confirmed the investigators' worst fears. The shoe belonged to Evelyn Brooks, but of Daniel, or whoever he really was, there was absolutely no trace. It vanished as completely as if he were a phantom. With this new, tragic evidence, the investigation took a darker turn. Detectives began connecting the dots, looking into similar cases across the country. What they uncovered was a horrifying pattern. The man who had posed as Daniel Price was a phantom with a history. He had used multiple fake identities before, and each one was tied to a woman who had mysteriously disappeared. Evelyn wasn't his first, Police now believe they have a clearer picture of what happened in that isolated cabin. During their honeymoon, in what should have been the happiest days of her life, Evelyn must have discovered his terrible secret. She confronted him, and there, surrounded by miles of silent snow, he ended her life. The theory is that he meticulously cleaned the cabin, staging it to create the illusion of a locked room mystery, a puzzle with no solution. He arranged the dinner table, made the bed, and then, under the cover of darkness, he simply walked away, disappearing into the vast Michigan wilderness and leaving behind the ghost of a life he never had. But some theories are even more unsettling. Some people believe he faked both his and Evelyn's deaths, using the elaborate setup as a smokescreen to disappear and start over yet again, with a new name and a new target. Others are convinced he is still out there, moving from state to state. A predator hiding in plain sight, perhaps already planning his next honeymoon. Today, that secluded log cabin in northern Michigan remains empty. It stands as a silent monument to a honeymoon that ended in tragedy. Locals whisper stories about it, claiming that the lights inside sometimes flicker on and off at night. Even though the power has long been disconnected, a strange, ghostly echo of the life that was supposed to begin there. If you look online, you can still find the old Airbnb listing for the cabin, frozen in time. And if you scroll down to the reviews, you'll find the very last one, a short, cryptic message left by a guest who must have sensed something was wrong. It reads, "Beautiful cabin, very quiet, but we didn't stay the night." This case is a terrifying reminder that sometimes the most dangerous monsters are the ones who wear a human face. The ones who charm their way into our lives with a warm smile and a perfect lie. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as compelling as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most baffling mysteries. Stay safe out there.